Event 201, held October 18th, 2019 in New York City, approximately 6 weeks before the first person with COVID went to the hospital in China. So the Gates Foundation partners with Johns Hopkins and the World Economic Forum to host Event 201, which is a tabletop exercise that simulated a coronavirus pandemic.
These epidemic events are getting more and more disruptive to health and to economy. And the reason we called it Event 201 is we knew eventually one of these days, one of those events would be the big one. If we are going to get ready, we need to have operationalized and integrated public-private cooperation that we haven't seen before.
6 weeks before the first person with COVID goes to the hospital, okay? The scenario they simulate involves a virus called CAPS, Coronavirus-Associated Pulmonary Syndrome. So this made-up virus starts in pigs in Brazil, jumps to humans, spreads via air travel, mild symptoms for some, severe pneumonia for others. Now, the simulation predicts that 65 million will be dead within 18 months, and there'll be a total economic collapse. Now, this wasn't a medical drill. The participants weren't doctors or nurses. They were corporate executives, UPS, Johnson & Johnson, government officials. And the exercise focused on coordinating government and businesses to maintain supply chains and control information, specifically suppressing misinformation and disinformation during a pandemic.
We're at a moment where the social media platforms have to step forward and recognize the moment to assert that they're a technology platform and not a broadcaster is over. They, in fact, have to be a participant in broadcasting accurate information and partnering with the scientific and health communities to counterweight, if not flood the zone of accurate information, because to try to put the genie back in the bottle of the misinformation and disinformation is nigh impossible.
They strategized about media companies partnering with governments to control the narrative, and as stated, they'd already built the apparatus to do so with Gavi and the Atlantic Council's DFR lab. Now, 8 weeks later, COVID-19 emerged in Wuhan and became known to the general public. Johns Hopkins rushes out with a statement, oh, hey, Event 201 was just a training exercise. We didn't predict COVID. No, of course you didn't. Let's accept that. Why not? But here's the question. Why did the actual COVID response look like a coordinated wealth transfer instead of a public health protection exercise? Exactly as planned by Jeff Epstein in 2011. Event 201 wasn't a prediction. It was a rehearsal, and we all lived through opening night. This isn't a conspiracy, it's continuity. But wait, it gets worse, because after COVID, Gates actually had the balls to release a book, How to Prevent the Next Pandemic. And in it, he proposed the GERM team, a global epidemic response and mobilization squad, a permanent force of 3,000 experts managed by the WHO on standby to deploy at any outbreak within days at the cost of only $1 billion per year. This lunatic wants a standing army. He wants a global health militia accountable to no elected government, funded by Gates, controlled by the WHO. He's not even hiding it anymore. And in the event that you still think Gates is a sweet old man who wants to give away his fortune and save children in Africa, let's look at the SEC filings. Let's just follow the money. COVID wasn't a tragedy for the Gates Foundation. It was a windfall. On top of the insane profit that he made from the jump off of all of his biotech companies, they soared in stock price. Here's the receipt that most people never see. In the late summer of 2019, just months before any of us ever heard the word Wuhan, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation made a $55 million equity investment in a small German biotech company called BioNTech. Now, at the time, BioNTech wasn't even on the radar, right? But then the pandemic hits, the world shuts down. BioNTech partners with Pfizer to roll out the very first mRNA vaccine. Of course, the stock goes nuclear, climbing from $18 a share to over $400 a share. That's a 20x investment. Just that one investment took Gates $55 million to $1.1 billion. So ask yourself, what would a philanthropist do? Hold the stock? Donate the shares? use the leverage to make the vaccine free and open to the world, but not Bill. All right, guys, if you like this clip and you want to watch the full episode, click here. And if you want more content like this, you can subscribe to the show by clicking here.